Hello everyone and welcome to some MiSTer FPGA news. This week we will be talking about the Splatterhouse core, the Nintendo 64 core, some adapters for original controllers, and more. I would also like to thank MiSTer Add-ons for sponsoring my content. You can check out his stores to get all your MiSTer needs. Also stay tuned for future videos in which I'll be going over several products available at MiSTer Add-ons. So now let's get to the news. If you're using a controller adapter based on Sonic BR's RetroZord design, a new firmware will soon be released. This release will feature user-selectable output mode between X input, switch, PlayStation 3 and direct input, support for the analog triggers on X input and PS3, NegCon and JotCon will work on all output modes, but the spinner is only available through direct input. Also, while not tested, the adapters should now support up to 5 controllers on Switch, PS3, and direct input mode, but X input will still be limited to a single controller. The RetroZord project is an open source low latency controller adapter that allows you to use original console controllers with any device that supports USB, including the MiSTer FPGA. I provided links in the description if you want more information on the project and if you want to build your own. And thanks to MiSTer Add-ons, I will be creating a couple of videos on their version of the adapter called Reflex Adapt, so keep an eye out for those videos. Track 17 posted an image of Total Carnage's test menu running on the MiSTer FPGA. Total Carnage is an awesome twin-stick shooter arcade game from the 90s, and it will be a great addition to MiSTer. I know some people are a little disappointed with the Midway core since the targeted Mortal Kombat core release date has come and gone. But being a software engineer for over 20 years, I know development can be unpredictable and delays always happen. While I would love to see cores coming to MiSTer, to me it's not the end of the world if a core is late or never appears on MiSTer. There are a lot of great software emulators out there that still allow us to play most of these games, so waiting for a MiSTer core is easy. Retrofrog has released the 3D files to his small console-style MiSTer FPGA case. This specific one doesn't use the standard USB hub plate, but uses a cheap 4-port USB hub. The files are currently available to Retrofrog's Patreon subscribers. In other Retrofrog news for the MiSTer FPGA, he plans to release his keyboard case soon. This is a case I'm looking forward to as I plan to build another MiSTer setup dedicated to just computer cores. Last week, I spoke about the MiSTex project now having a build root for the Raspberry Pi Zero. However, at the time, it was not working on an FPGA chip yet. Hans Beyer now updated us that MiSTex with the Pi Zero is now working on an FPGA chip and posts a picture of it running the Qbert core. If you are not aware of the MiSTex project, it is a fork of MiSTer with the goal of being able to use different FPGA chips. This project can open up the possibility of not depending on the DE10 Nano for running cores, and being able to further customize a MiSTer FPGA setup according to your needs. If you only want to play early 80s games, then you can use cheaper components. But if you want to play more recent games, this can give you the option of using more expensive FPGAs. And speaking of a more powerful board for MiSTex, MiSTer hardware vendor Antonio Villena has made a Raspberry Pi Zero adapter board for his RTX 100T FPGA device. This device currently has no MiSTer compatibility, but with this adapter, it can help bring MiSTer cores to it. The MiSTex project is still really early in development, but I look forward to seeing multiple devices supporting MiSTer cores. There are now more low latency options for playing with original controllers over USB. Laserbit Industries now sells 2-player adapters for the Super NES and the Sega Genesis. These adapters are based on a custom Demon Byte design. Work on the Splatterhouse core still continues. The thing holding it back is the MCU chip that needs some new instructions added. This MCU is also related to Bubble Bobble and Double Dragon, and Jotego recently made improvements to the Bubble Bobble core. The Double Dragon core will also be updated with what has been learned from Splatterhouse. The N64 core can now run Pokemon Game Boy games with the transfer pack in the Pokemon Stadium game. You can either use real N64 peripherals through Snack or just use the emulated transfer pack within the core. The core also has had improvements to text, color, and blending. Robert is currently working with making further improvements with some games that run well but still have rendering issues. And there were more graphics bugs fixed in the RDP that helped with the poison water in Diddy Kong Racing, and the sprites in Dr. Mario. So that's it for this episode. I provide links to all my sources in the description. Make sure you also check out RetroRGB.com to see my MiSTer news videos in blog form and to get more retro related content. And if possible, support them on Patreon too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and its bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.